Welcome to Freezer Milk Podcast. I'm your host, Bridget, along with my husband, Chris. Podcast where we talk about the comedic side and serious side of parenting, life, and relationships. We are boy parents. We have two boys, Enzo and Rhett, with about a 6-year age gap between the two. You can check out our website, freezermilk.com. Also, feel free to follow us on Instagram at Freezer Milk Podcast. Thanks and hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back. Today is a super special day. What is it?
It's Rhett's birthday.
Rhett's 1. We survived 12 months.
Yeah, it was a feat in itself.
It was
A lot of mixed emotions.
a lot of mixed emotions, yeah. Let's dig into those a little bit. What would you say are some things that surprised you about parenting, maybe in a not so pleasant way?
Jeez. I would say that...
How much sleep deprivation? Fucks you
Yeah,
up.
sleep deprivation, that's a real deal. I'm one of those people that, I've been in construction pretty much my entire life. So I'm an early riser. I used to be. I'm an early riser. I get off work early and, I do my deal and I'm in bed by 9 o'clock and, I get a minimum 7.5 hours of sleep. So I'm very routine when it comes to that. Boy, did that change. And because we had a kind of a moment where you were getting up, and because he wasn't taking a bottle, I wasn't getting up. So you finally were like, look, it would help me if you started getting up too. And so I would get up and get the baby from the crib and give the baby to Rhett or to Bridget so she could nurse.
Change his diaper.
And change his diaper and stuff like that. And
was super helpful.
And this is when, he was going through his stomach stuff. We had just gotten him on the probiotics. We were working out that, and we were still trying to learn each other. And needless to say, I was given, at average, I would get 3.5, 4 hours of sleep a night. And I was good for maybe the first 2 weeks, but after that I declined. And it was a lot. It was very overwhelming, especially working, full time and trying to care for everybody and do that deal. But I think that the sleep deprivation, man, it took a toll on me and my body, my mind. I just was starting to get angrier and then I eventually got to a place where I wasn't angry anymore because I was just so tired and I didn't feel good and I was foggy and man, it sucked. It was tough.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we actually moved to this house that Rhett started sleeping 11 hours. Straight. He gets up once or twice, I think, here or there. But nothing like it was. So now I actually get to sleep again, which is nice. But I would say that was probably one that was tough for me. I would say now I'm terrified about everything that he does. I'm constantly hovering and following him around the damn house and watching him get into shit and telling him not to touch this and no. And he's a very curious baby. And so, he's the type of baby that likes to pull things out of the wall or, get into cabinets so I'm constantly just following him around the house. So I would say that's now that his age now, that's where we're at. And that's our day. Me just following him around the house, making sure that he doesn't get fucking hurt.
So that would be something that surprised you in a not so pleasant way about how much anxiety
babies give you, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he started.
They're so calm. They're so docile. No, it is pure anxiety.
Well, he started walking at a little bit earlier age than most babies, I think.
Yep.
And that's terrifying. He's up and he's moving and he's going and he's gone. And now we have a bigger house and, we have to barricade everything off and, we give him some space to roam, but we're very careful with him. And we're constantly watching him. Even if I take him into my office, he's constantly getting into something. It's tough. What about you? What do you think?
Rhett and Enzo were very different babies. Very different. So there's a 6-year age gap between the two of them. And it's not my first rodeo, but it was basically my first rodeo again. I think in a not so pleasant way, it surprised me how much I danced the line of postpartum depression.
With Rhett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have that with Enzo, and...
Man, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was another thing.
Yeah, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that he was so distraught for those first 2 months. So I was coming down on my hormones, and I just felt like there is obviously something wrong with me, and I'm obviously not connecting with my child because my child does not calm down for me. And I am his home. I am the most familiar thing to him. My smell alone should calm him, let alone my voice, my touch, everything, and it wasn't happening. And looking back, like, we know it had nothing to do with me. It was because of the dairy issue. But in the moment, all I could think was, like, there's something wrong on the wiring here because my kid is not attaching to me.
Yeah, now you can't get rid of him.
But I think that really, really led into that postpartum. And then we didn't have a good support system set up for those first 2 months.
And we brought somebody in to help.
And that was amazing once we brought them in.
I think when Rose came, that was like a night and day shift with you.
Yeah.
I think you were able to connect really well with her, and she made you feel better. Mm-hmm. Because I was I didn't know how to help you.
And you were so sleep deprived.
I was sleep deprived. I was trying to figure out the baby
And
situation.
you're trying to work and like help with Enzo.
Taking care of Enzo.
You were trying to bring me food. I was stuck in the nursery all day.
You was post birth, and you were still healing. You couldn't do a whole lot. You were very limited. Your body was still healing, and man, it was a lot. And bringing her in, man, to talk to you and kind of just be there for you.
Help with the baby, make us meals. Like, she did all of it.
Oh, she was amazing.
We love Rose.
Yes, she was amazing. I highly recommend that to anybody that, decides to go down the road of having a child. Maybe it's your first child, maybe it's your second child. Doing a postpartum doula is like night and day.
Worth its weight in gold.
Because, especially if you're a first-time parent like me, like Enzo, as most people know, is not my, blood son. He is my stepson. But I've known him since he was a baby, younger. Mm-hmm. But for somebody that's a first-time parent, like, there's a huge shift.
I think it's both. Like, I think it's great for a first-time parent because of the fact that, like, it is a huge shift. But then I also think the postpartum doula is almost even more needed for your second and third kid because you have another kid that's demanding attention.
Yeah.
And so the exhaustion level is different than when it's your first kid and it's just two adults and a newborn.
Yeah.
Because when you have that other kid in play, you're like,
Yeah, I mean, that old adage, takes a village, is very true.
Yeah. I think, so that was something that definitely surprised me in a not great way, was how much I struggled with postpartum depression, for sure.
I struggled with, even though Enzo was in our life, he was in our lives 50% of the time. So 50% of the time, it was just me and you.
Yep.
And then we brought on this creature that was nonstop 110% of the time.
Yeah.
Always in your face, always needing something. Man, that was a huge eye-opener.
Do you remember we had to have a kind of a come to Jesus about your old life as you knew it, with having your time and your ability just to be like, cool, gonna go run and do this.
Yeah, that went out the window unless I'm taking baby.
We had to have like kind of a come to Jesus about it, where you absolutely
because I used to go on the weekends to like go to the car wash, get gas, get the tires checked, run these errands, and that went away really quickly.
Yeah,
especially right after the baby was born.
Yeah, because you did, I think, 1 or 2 weekends, and I was just like,
nope,
I need your support. I need your help. Like, I don't get a chance to just go disappear for a couple of hours.
Yep.
Like, don't assume I'm just going to watch the baby. Like, ask, get my opinion, maybe offer to take him with you.
Normally I take him with me now.
Oh, yeah, you do now, absolutely. Like, after we had kind of talked about it and you realized, I think you really realized, like, hey, my old life as I knew it is never the same.
No.
And it's not that I've lost that old life. My life has just changed in a new way. And that means I have this baby that I need to assume I'm equally responsible for throughout the day, and not assume Bridget has it, or You know, Bridget can't assume I have it. Like, we're equally responsible for this baby throughout the day. And checking in with each other, like, hey, are you okay if I go to the store? Do you want me to take him with you? Or even tonight I asked, hey, I don't want to take him in. I picked up dinner and I was like, I don't want to take him into the restaurant and take him out of the car seat and all that to get dinner. Do you all want to go and you'll stay in the car with him and I'll run in? Or do you want to stay home with baby? Like, what do you prefer? But that is a very normal conversation now for us.
Yeah.
Whereas the first few weeks, like, that was not a normal conversation until we kind of had to come to Jesus about it. We're like, yo, we need to have this conversation and talk about how we handle this. So I don't just feel like I'm stuck at home all the time with the baby.
Yeah. Well, no, I think when the first few months, I tried to let you, like, leave a little bit so I could stay with the baby, but it was really difficult because at that time...
He was miserable.
He wanted nursing for comfort. He wouldn't take a bottle. So you could only leave for like an hour and a half max.
Hour was pushing it.
Before he would just completely lose it. I remember you would have to sit in his chair, his rocking chair, in his room in complete darkness, either listening to that or playing that one song or listening to brown noise for hours.
Yep. During the daytime.
He wouldn't do it with me. He would only do it with you. And I felt so bad, but I'm like, what can I do here?
For a while there, you thought, like, my kid doesn't like me. I'm not a good dad. He wouldn't sleep for you. Like,
I was having a ton of issues attaching to him. I was just like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I wanted at all.
You're like, I remember you said, you're like, I want the baby that'll lay on the couch with me and, like, watch TV.
Which is funny because today, when you were working, Rhett came and me and him watched an entire movie on the couch. He just laid with me and ate his little cracker, and that's what he does now. I put him to bed every night almost.
And he goes to bed better for you than me?
He goes to bed better for me. Me and him I get him in the mornings. Yeah. I get him dressed. I come out and sit on the couch with him at 5 a.m. because he likes to get up at 5 a.m.
He does.
Me and him have our routine now.
Do you remember before he was born, I told you, like, you are going to establish routines with him, and there will be certain things that are your things, like the bed routine or morning routine or, bath routine. Like, you will have things that he associates as these are my dad routines.
Yeah.
And mom is nursing, and mom is comfort, and mom is I bump my head, and I need owie kisses, and I'm sick, I don't feel good. Like, I am all of that.
Yeah, I think I was always really scared because my childhood was different, and I didn't feel I didn't feel that nurturing from my parents. So I was always curious and always worried that I would never be able to be that way with him and give him that nurturing and give him the comfort. And to my surprise, it kind of came naturally.
Takes a little while.
It takes a little while. I mean, in the beginning it was tough because I was like, this is not my kid. This is the spawn of Satan. And he hates me.
We used to call him. Do you remember what we used to call him?
Well, what do we call him?
Grumpelstiltskin.
Grumpelstiltskin. Yeah. Because he was so grumpy.
He just looked grumpy all the time, and he acted grumpy all the time.
Those first few weeks, month and a half, 2 months was tough.
Yeah.
Really tough. And there's parts of you that are like, I'm not going to make it. Like, how am I going to do this?
Yep.
Like, this is like indefinite.
Yep.
And
I reminded you it's a season. It's a horrible season, but it's a season.
Well, it's like we go through seasons with Enzo now. Mm-hmm. He's 7 years old. He's opinionated. He is moody. He's got a lot of angst. He
wants to snuggle. He wants to be a baby sometimes.
He wants to be a baby. He wants to snuggle because he sees his brother doing it. Mm. And we get touched out. We get, I don't want to touch anybody. I don't want to be touched by anybody. Like, I'm just like, stop touching me. And he wants to come snuggle with me, and I feel so bad. But I'm like, dude, like,
I've been trying to give him more snuggle time recently.
Yeah, and he needs it. I mean, he's again. We think he's old, but he's not. He's only 7 years old. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's still a baby. Mm-hmm.
I think something with Rhett that surprised you, not in a great way, was how much when you're driving, a baby crying could just like
make your skin crawl,
like make your nerves go on fire, make your skin crawl.
I don't know how many times we would be driving and I just wanted to pull over and get out and scream. I was like, how did I get myself in this position? How did I get here? And
why did you want to scream? Was it because it was annoying, or was it because you just felt like
you can't do anything about it?
Yes, that is what it is. It's not that you want to scream because it's so annoying and it's making you mad. You want to scream because, and it's biology. So the pitches that the baby's cry hits, like it on a tonal, like cellular level, does something to people where they're like, I have to nurture you. I have to take care of you. But when you're driving,
you can't do that.
You can't pull over and take him out and then hold him for an hour and wait till they calm down and put him back in the car.
Especially if you're sitting in traffic on the freeway.
Right. Like,
bumper to bumper traffic.
You just have to
keep going.
Power through. But you're going against your like coding as a human being that says, this child is distressed. I need to comfort. And it's interesting. I remember you and I first talked about it because you were like, why does it drive me crazy? And I told you, it's because everything in your coding as a human being says, when this level of cry happens and when this pitch of cry happens, I have to provide comfort, and you're not doing it. So you're basically telling your body, like, do the opposite of what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, even now he does every once in a while. He doesn't have the scream that he used to have, but, you know, he's got a lot. Enough. He gets worked up enough in the car that I'm like, we need to stop. Like, we need to pull over now. And we needed to figure this out. And we've done that in the past where we've pulled over into a parking lot and pulled him out of the car seat and walked him around or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's parenting now. Yeah. I never thought I'd be doing that. Pulling over into a vacant parking lot so you could breastfeed the baby that's screaming in the back of the car when we're trying to go get some Chinese food.
Right.
Like, it's just ridiculous. I'm like, wow.
What's some things that, like, what are 2 or 3 things that you would do for a friend that was going to be a first-time parent? Like, what support were you given, or what support do you wish you had been given, or what do you know now, having gone through the first 12 months, that you're like, hey, if my best friend has a newborn and it's their first kid, like, these are the things I'm hooking them up with?
I would say you're going to spend a lot of time at home, so you're going to get bored. I'm not asking for, like, you know, to rent some movies or video game or, you know, even to bring coffee. Like, coffee is a huge one. Like, Starbucks, just bring me some Starbucks. You know, I don't care, you know, what time of day it is, because I'm going to need it. You know, maybe, hey, you want me to get you some groceries, or you want me to cook you, or you want me to buy you some dinner or something like that. I think those would have been big helps.
Remember Mariah and Derek made us dinner?
Yep.
And that was like
everything.
The best thing ever.
We were struggling so much at that point.
Yes.
And me and you couldn't muster up the energy to cook a freaking meal.
And oh my God, it was so good.
You know, honestly, if one of my friends would just come over and say, hey, let me watch the baby for an hour, go take a shower, go take a nap. You know?
Yeah.
Something like that. Anything like that. Like, those gestures mean so much to a parent that is deprived those basic things.
Yep. I think that was some of the big things that Rose was really good with. And I think it's something that, like, if we had a friend that was having a baby for the first time,
that's what I'd offer.
I would offer, let me come hold the baby for an hour.
I used to be terrified of holding babies.
And you can go shower. Or, more importantly, let me grocery shop for you, or let me run a load of laundry for you and put it away. Because the amount of fucking laundry you go through with spit up and shit on and more spit up and more shit on, like, the last thing you want to do is sit there and do laundry, you know?
You've had some really good people in your life that recently, especially in the last year, that have gone out of their way to, like, order you groceries, or, you know, you've had some really good friends there. You know, it was like Amy. She lives, my sister, she lives out of state, but she knew, you know, it was when you had COVID, Rhett probably had COVID, Enzo had COVID. I was running solo trying to figure it all out and work, and Amy sent us groceries, and then she bought me a gift card to Starbucks, and you know, like, it's stuff like that. Those gestures.
When we lost baby Avery and had the miscarriage,
Yep.
you know, Maria like had
Bought
groceries.
you a necklace. And...
yeah, she got me a necklace. Mariah got me a necklace too. Maria had groceries delivered and like was cognizant of ordering dairy-free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just and then like some like, you know, nice like bath stuff to.
It's just those gestures mean so much when you're going through that.
Yeah.
Because when you're going through that stuff, you feel very alone.
Mm-hmm.
And when people gather and they come together and do things like that for you, it's everything.
And it's the little stuff like that.
It helps. It's a big factor in getting you through those things.
Yeah.
Those moments are tough, but
it really is it takes a village, you know.
And I think that's what's good about, you know, this podcast, this show. You know, a lot of our listeners can relate, you know, or are first-time parents and are trying to figure out if they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Guess what? You're not doing anything wrong. You're just going through it.
Yep.
We all do it.
And you're going to question yourself all the time.
I question myself every day with both kids. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how many times I tell myself, man, you're a horrible parent.
Oh, don't do that.
Just like, you know, just...
You got to cancel that in the universe.
You do. But there's like moments where you're like, dude, you need to be nicer, or you need to be more understanding, or, you know, like Enzo's going through this thing right now. We live in a new house. It's a bigger house. He's terrified of the house.
Yep.
So he's shut himself in, and he is very scared of his room and that side of the house, because it's like, I don't want to say it's wings, but it is the way this house is lit up.
It's a very long hallway.
It's a very long hallway, and
it's like off
down
the side.
A lot of doors and stuff like that. So now
it's tall ceilings.
Yeah, it's tall ceilings. Now he's doing this thing where he has to shower in our shower. He has to brush his teeth in our bathroom, like lights on. You know, he's scared, and I struggle with that. You know, I really do struggle with it, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong.
I struggle with it too, and I'm like, I have to remind myself that one day he will just decide to shower in his bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And one day he will decide to brush his teeth in his bathroom. And it won't be any big fanfare, and it won't be any big to-do. It will just be...
Nope, I'm done.
One day.
Scared.
Yeah.
It's just that age, you know. And with Rhett, you know, like, again, I'm at this point, you know, he's learning... He's so curious about everything. He wants to get into everything. So now I just helicopter parent him. I used to give you a hard time because when I first met you, you were a big time helicopter parent, and I never really understood it until I had my own. And now,
remember when he fell going out the front door?
Oh yeah, ate shit and hit his head on the concrete. It was all bad.
I remember you walked in. You're like, I think I gave him a concussion.
It was bad. Anyway, luckily babies are very resilient.
Yep.
And they're squishy for a reason. But, man, it's an eye-opening experience, to say the least. And every day we're learning something new about him. He's learning something new about us. He is a very creative, very intelligent being. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important that we respect that. Yes, he doesn't know what can hurt him, but he's starting to figure it out.
What are some things that surprised you in a great way about being Rhett's dad?
How, you know, after we got the gut stuff figured out and me and him started to build a relationship, and we got to a place where you could start leaving the house for more than an hour, how quickly and how hard I attached to him. Like every fiber of my being is about him. Mm-hmm. And I notice it when I do his bedtime routine, or me and him do his bath time, or, you know, we're sitting on the couch watching a movie, or we're just hanging out. Like, he is everything. And I never thought I would experience that. Again, I was always worried that I was never going to be able to attach to him. Mm-hmm. And that was probably the biggest shocker for me, because I was like, holy cow, like this, I'm, you know, really attached to him.
You get why people say their kids are their world.
Yep, he's everything.
You want to like better your life. You want to you get new goals for what kind of life you want to provide.
I would say also how well Enzo responds to him and how excited Rhett gets when it's been a week and hasn't seen Enzo, and we pick him up from school and Rhett sees Enzo get in the car from school, how excited and just full of joy he is to see Enzo, because it's his big brother.
Yeah.
And
Enzo, right now, he loves
Enzo. Enzo can make him smile. He can, he's very, very good with him.
He reads to him.
Aww. It's amazing to watch that relationship grow.
Yep.
It's really cool.
You got to see a new side of me as a mom.
Yes, I got to see the more nurturing, more...
Because when you and I first started dating, Enzo was almost 3.
Yeah.
And that type of mom is a different mom than 0 to 12 months.
Yes. 0 to 12 months has been what I've always envisioned a mom and baby's relationships that it was supposed to be.
Oh.
And you've played that role and that part very well. And you're very good with that kid. And he adores you more than anything. More than me, more than Enzo. He's all about you. And I'm glad for you, and I'm glad for him, and I'm glad that he has you. Because not all relationships are created equal, So I think that's a good one.
We do silly stuff like dance in the kitchen.
You guys dance in the kitchen. You sing to him constantly.
Yeah.
Because you have one song that calms him down over anything else.
We play peekaboo with Milkies.
Yep. You guys have very interesting bond. For any first-time parents, you're gonna, especially the men, you're gonna see a lot of boobs the first year. A lot of boobs.
But never be able to touch them.
Never be able to touch them without your child giving you a glare. Like, those are mine.
Rhett's currently in a fun phase of he wants to have both boobs available to nurse. And gets very distraught if I try to cover one of them up.
Well, like you said, he's a lot like me because
he's like, I want them out, free the booby.
Yeah, he wants options.
Yes.
When it comes to food, I always want a ton of options. So.
First do the right side, then do the left.
What do you think? What is something that has surprised you for the better and in a good way?
How I parent with Enzo now is so different than how I parent a baby. And it surprised me how much I was able to tap into that side of myself again. Because Enzo has been out of that phase for so long, and that it's a different type of nurturing with the 0 to 12 months. They
are very reliant on you.
They
100%.
Are. Yeah, I am their source of life. You are their source of life. We feed them, we bathe them,
Enzo is pretty self-sufficient now. He finally knows how to use the microwave. He gets his own meals. He does puts his dishes away, cleans up after himself, does his homework. It's a whole different world.
So it surprised me because I was a little bit unsure. I'm older, I'm 6 years older than I was with Enzo. So I'm a little bit less patient. I'm a little bit more jaded by life. So I wasn't sure what it would be like for me. Also on the attachment, I was worried about the attachment, especially when I was having the postpartum, blues, borderline depression. It surprised me how much I was able to tap into the nurture and the love and be able to attach and create this really strong bond where, that child has his moments of temper tantrums as a 1-year-old. But
it's kind of funny to watch, though.
Oh my gosh. He just started probably 2 weeks ago, maybe. Where he protests life and
throws himself on the ground.
Throws himself in a sitting position on the ground. Not full out layout, but just slams down on his butt and is just wah! Just gets mad about the fact that I won't pick him up. But he just adores and loves so much, full body love. And it's cool to be able to see that I have created that bond with him. And that surprised me.
That's awesome.
I think the other thing that surprised me is Enzo, as we talked about in some previous episodes. It was rough with Enzo's dad. It took me a very long time to come around to the idea of taking that leap of faith to have another kid. And I think it pleasantly surprised me with Rhett to realize I do want to do this. And we've talked about, like, we don't think we're done. You know, if we get lucky enough, you know, we had Avery, the miscarriage happened in November, end of November. But if we get lucky enough to have a third pregnancy and have a third baby, like, that is something I look forward to with excitement now. And I don't have as much anxiety and apprehension about it.
I'll tell you right now, the first thing we're going to do when that baby comes out, put him on probiotics. So, straighten out the gut immediately.
No dairy, Bridget, ever.
Yeah, you want cheese? Life. Oh, that sucks. So,
just stay dairy-free forever.
There's just things that you learn with every child that help you with the next, I think. Yeah.
It's
still a crapshoot. I mean, you're still, you know, every child's different.
You know,
their
what's interesting
are different.
Is, sorry to interrupt. So, Enzo had respiratory issues. And Enzo, as a baby, taught me I have to advocate and I need to believe my gut on my kid. I need to believe in myself when I say I think something's wrong, to pursue it. Like,
I used to get so frustrated with you. We were always going to the hospital.
But to pursue it, and pursue it passionately, like, I think something's wrong, don't take no for an answer, get a second opinion, get a third opinion, etc. And in line with what you're saying, each kid prepares you for the next. Because we've adopted that mentality and you've gotten so used to that, when Rhett's issues arose and his pediatrician dismissed it,
we were both like,
nope. We are advocates.
Nope,
we have been trained by the other one how to be advocates, and we are going to pursue this passionately and talk to somebody and keep talking to him and have them, you know, evaluate him and ask about his stools and everything. And I guarantee you that we would not have been so quick to pursue it if we didn't have that groundwork from Enzo.
Absolutely. We were constantly going to the hospital and stuff with Enzo.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly. Mm-hmm. And I would get so frustrated because I felt like every cold, every cough, we were going to the hospital. And I knew it was coming. And, you know, if it weren't for that, we wouldn't do that with you, and we wouldn't do that with Rhett. And,
yeah,
you know, I mean, it just changes you, changes your perspective of things. Children.
But yeah, it's been, man, I cried today.
Yeah, you put together a video from 1 month from birth to 12 months, and to be honest with you, it made me a little teary-eyed. I was like, holy crap, where did this time go?
Yeah.
We were joking because we were looking through the pictures, and we happened to notice that Rhett was not a cute newborn. But, you know, now that he's getting older, he's definitely a cute baby.
Mm-hmm.
But
Enzo was a cute newborn, but he was not very cute as a 1-year-old. It was the opposite. Rhett is a very cute 1-year-old, but he was not a cute newborn. It's tough, though. Like, so we both are shocked at how quick the year went. But in the thick of it, in those moments, oh my gosh, the hours drag. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably the biggest thing that I would tell new parents out there is...
When the baby would wake up, I remember the first couple of months when the baby would wake up, I'd sit at the end of the bed. Like, in a half daze, half, like, whatever, trance, listening to the baby cry. Man.
Questioning life.
Questioning everything that
every choice you made. But it's so, everybody tells you it, and it's so hard to believe it when you're in the thick of it. But they tell you, like, this is a season, and the days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening. You can check us out at
freezermilk.com
or Instagram.
Freezermilk Podcast.
Until next week, guys. Thanks.
Don't forget, parenting is a trip. We are all here on the journey with you together. Thanks so much for listening.